Before General Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated by NATO in October of 2021, Libya was ranked Africa's highest in gold reserves. Libya had 143 tons of gold in reserves with the Central Bank of Libya, higher than the one of Singapore, who had 103 tons, higher than South Korea, who had 65 tons, higher than Saudi Arabia, who had 17 tons, and higher than even Australia, who also had 80 tons of gold reserves in 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, contrary to what the legacy media made us to believe at the time, Libya was doing far better than many developed countries in the world today under Gaddafi than what it has become right now. Gaddafi understood the importance of gold and other minerals and made sure to store enough to keep the Libyan dinar at 1.25 against $1. Today, $1 is 5.47 against the Libyan dinar. Gold and other precious minerals like diamond and silver are very important national assets for many reasons. And when a country has no reserves in those, the strength of their currency is negatively impacted. I am going to share with you the current state of gold reserves for countries in Africa, just so you know why your country's currency is behaving the way it is. My name is Cyrus and this is Tuntum Network. Welcome on board, and please do us a favor. Subscribe if you're first time here and make sure to click on the notification bell to get all our videos. Let's get into this. Africa is sitting on gold, but Africa don't have gold. As of March of this year, the total gold reserves of all African countries combined is less than Japan, India, and even Turkey. I'm not even comparing us with the big countries like Germany, Italy, China, Canada, America, and the rest. Our combined gold reserves is lower than these countries, ladies and gentlemen. All of Africa's gold reserves combined is less than 700 tons in 2025. Less than 700 tons, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Germany alone has 3,300 tons of gold. Italy, 2,452 tons of gold. France has 2,436 tons of gold. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a look at this list of Africa's top 10 countries with their highest reserves in gold. Let's watch this quickly. What you saw is the best 10 from Africa, which includes Ghana, Africa's highest producer of gold with only 31 tons. It used to be 8.7 tons last year though. Now, let's take another look at the gold reserves of other African countries in 2025. Check this one out. That's it. That's all. The rest of our African countries' data is not even provided because most of them don't actually have any reserves, to be honest. Ladies and gentlemen, this explains one of the reasons why our currencies are worth nothing on the global economic scale. When you as a country are not manufacturing as much and you don't also have any meaningful storage of gold or other precious minerals backing your currency, you are literally, ladies and gentlemen, trading with nothing more than just mere paper. Take for instance Botswana. They have more than 900 carats of diamonds in reserves, and that alone puts the Botswana Pula at 4th place on the currency rankings in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore important to acknowledge that it's either you are heavily manufacturing something or you are producing something to have a relevant economy. This is what's happening around the world. We all have significant deposits of some type of minerals in our countries all over Africa. What are they sitting there for? Or should I ask rather, who is actually working on them? Ladies and gentlemen, how many African countries today have state mining companies that are operational? Or how many African countries can boast of a state mining company that's fully owned by the state or even majority owned by the state in 2025? Why have we all moved away from running state enterprises? Don't we know as a people that that's the reason that China is successful? Can't you see in real time this is what's making Captain Traore of Burkina Faso win? He has nationalized the mines. There are many places of rich deposits scattered across this continent, which our government must raise capital to go into mining those places. What is stopping us from doing that? This is one of the reasons why I support Comrade Julius Malema of South Africa to some extent. Watch this video as he speaks on the need for South Africa to own its own mining company. Take a look at this.
With nationalization, it doesn't mean we're going to take a big construction company and make it a state construction company. No. Nationalization, we mean establishment of a state housing construction company, state road construction company, and there could be a private owned construction companies, but the state must have its own internal capacity to do its own things. And that's what we're saying. When we say we're going to nationalize the mines, it doesn't mean we're going to take Anglo-American mine. It doesn't mean we're going to take Impala Platinum mine. It simply means the state must own a mining company that will be given preference, especially on profitable minerals. The same goes with the banks. We're saying we establish a state-owned bank. That's what nationalization of the EFF means, because nationalization simply means state ownership. And we are going to establish our own bank, and then the rest of other banks must compete.
This is the only way to go, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't have our own mines and if we aren't competitive in the global marketplace in terms of exports, how are we going to survive in the coming years? This is why I insist that any African country who doesn't have capacity in manufacturing and product value addition has no business joining the BRICS. Because once you align with the BRICS, you have agreed to open your local market to the movement of all the other BRICS members' exports to your country. This is a fact. Meanwhile, you are not producing much. So what exactly will you be shipping to the BRICS nations, the other BRICS nations? What will you be shipping in exchange for Forex? That is my question. Your country will end up becoming a dumping ground. People need to wake up. Heads of states need to wake up. This one move alone by Captain Traore shows the difference between his IQ and the rest of them. When he took over power, he went straight into treating tailings for gold. That's how smart the guy is. When it comes to raising capital from within, he shows up on the scene in less than 3 years. He nationalizes the mines and treat tailings for immediate gold. This is intelligence. What are the rest of our heads of states doing with our diamonds, our gold, platinum, silver, and all the rest? What are they doing with them? Who are they waiting for to work on those fields? Please help me make sense of this. If you own or have access to something that the world needs, and that thing sells for a high price on the world market, and that same thing is at your disposal, and you have dependents to feed, ladies and gentlemen, what would you do with that thing? That's the same question I ask the Ghana government all the time. If you have the gold the world needs, and you have the cocoa the world wants, and you have a country to run which is full of gold and fertile land and good climate for cocoa production, what should you do as a government with these two resources, ladies and gentlemen? As a smart person, you invest massively in those things. So where are our African state farms, our cocoa farms? Where are our state mining companies? Don't we know the world is dying in need of foods? We ourselves are in need of food. So where are our state farms, ladies and gentlemen? What kind of economies are we running? Is there any one good reason we don't have these institutions in Africa running right now? How can we hire a foreign football coach to coach our failing football teams, but cannot put the same energy behind bringing in an international management team to work with our people and be paid to have our corporations running if mismanagement is our challenge? Why can't we do same for our local businesses? Why are we rather selling our state-owned enterprises? Don't we have competent men and women on this continent anymore, ladies and gentlemen? Why is common sense so scarce in this part of the world? That is a question I would like to ask you. This is the reason Captain Traore is so attractive. He seems to be the only one applying common sense at this point, and it's working for him, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't get our acts together and start working with what we have and believe in our abilities, nothing will change. Should the world stop shipping food and other essential commodities to us in Africa due to another world catastrophe, could we survive for one more year? Ask yourself this question before I bring the video to an end. The time is now to go into state ownership of businesses, whether in farming, processing, manufacturing, or construction, ladies and gentlemen, and we cannot delay any longer. Thank you for choosing to watch today's video. Be sure to click and subscribe to the button if you haven't done that, and click on the bell to get all our videos. I'll see you in the next one. It is bye-bye for now.